Hello everyone, my name is Davood and my teammates are Taher and Taghreed, and we're going to talk about the project for collaborative design course, which is about Braille Reading Ring, abbreviated as BRR, for blind and deaf-blind people. So first of all, we're going to have an agenda and we're going to talk about some introduction to the topic, about the motivation, propose some of the problems, and talk about the background and current inventions of this project, and have some objectives. And finally, we're going to conclude the main aspects of our work. So the first question that comes to mind is how deaf people and how deaf blind people can read. So basically, this question is originated from the other questions, which how blind people can read. So basically, there are two ways for blind people to read. The first one is to use Braille books, which is a system of raised dots that can be read with the finger by people who are blind or who have low visions. And the other source is online books, online Braille books, which we find two popular the online databases for Braille books. The first one is Library of Congress, which hosts a national library service for the blind, which is a consortium of libraries specializing in Braille and audiobooks for the blind. They can receive the said Braille book or audio tape of the book with email, and they also have electronic database of digital books that are accessible via refreshable Braille readers or via audio. The other source is Bookshare, which brands itself as the world's largest accessible online library for people with low vision and those who are blind. And the process of gaining access to the Bookshare online library mirrors the NLS National Library Service as well. And you must submit the documentation for to prove of your disability, or and after you gain an approved, you'll get access to the full you'll get a full access to the quite large online library. So these are the two main sources for getting Braille books in physical version and online version. But our question was how deaf blind people can read. So as you know, deaf blind people cannot take advantage of these online sources because they cannot hear the said or audio tape of the books. So the only way is to just use the Braille books, the physical Braille books uh, for deaf-blind people. So what are the motivations and challenges behind this project? Well, as I said, Braille books are more expensive and than most college books, and converting just a chapter of a science book, and for example, an average order into Braille can cost up to $15,000, which is very expensive. And since the Braille takes up more physical spaces, for example, imagine that if you have 1,000 page of a book, a math book, if you want to convert it into the Braille version, it will take up to 5,000 pages, which is really huge, and it's going to be a very thick book. So this motivates lots of companies and researchers to come up with a design to overcome this problem of the Braille books. So let's summarize the problems that we've discussed so far. We talked about that the Braille books are expensive and not widely accessible. Audiobooks require headphones and it isolates blind people from the environment because it blocks their sense of hearing. They have to be cautious about everything in the environment because they're blind and they just can commute with the environment through their ears. So it's going to be a very big problem if they just keep out headphones on their ears as well. And audiobooks are not a good platform for delivering mathematical concepts. Besides, deaf-blind people can't benefit from online sources as we talked about it. Uh, so it's going to be really difficult to carry heavy and bulky Braille books with yourself everywhere. So these are some of the main problems of this idea. And what are the objectives? So basically providing a design for deaf-blind people to read book with low cost and taking the advantage of online sources for Braille books for deaf people, because all the new books or everything that someone that is deaf or deaf blind can take advantage of reading new books, and it might take lots of days, if we don't consider the cost, it might take up to lots of times, months, and even years to convert a very huge book into the Braille. And the other objective is to automatically translating digital books to Braille. and promoting the braille literacy, which is the most important part, and addressing the issue of the bulky braille books. So basically, the current innovations in this field was related to MIT's Media Lab finger reader, which is an impressive machine, and it's a 3D printed device that uses the attached camera on top of it to recognize and read the text for user. So it's an index finger wearable device that supports the blind in reading printed text by scanning with the finger and hearing the word as synthesized speech. So this device accomplishes this through complicated image processing. It's designed to precisely follow finger trips of the person to read the text loud, and it can even be used on computer screens, which is really amazing. They can just use this device when they have a PDF of a book on their tablet or laptop. And one of the coolest features is that this finger reader emits a pulse that warns the reader when they move away from the line, which we're going to talk about it in quite a bit more detail over the next couple of slides. And although it's only a prototype, but we hope to this product hit the market as soon as possible because it's really amazing. So, as we just try to deeply study about this product, this design, we came up with these major problems in its design. So how does the user know where the baseline of the text is? Because it's really difficult to define the baseline of the text for someone who is blind. And how is this better than processing the whole text or page at once? Because we may have software or devices that can convert the whole text or page and try to read it once with just one quick scan, and we don't need to have finger trip. So this design only targets blind people, which is not usable for deaf blind people. So to overcome these problems, we designed a device called Braille Reading Ring, which is we abbreviated as BRR, that can be used by the blind and deaf blind people. So the Braille Reading Ring is a wearable ring that can connect to the Wi-Fi and have access to some Braille books from sources that we mentioned, such as Bookshare and Library of Congress. And this will make it very easy to use. So what's the methodology and development of our Braille Reading Ring? So the finger-worn design has embedded speaker and microphone that used for blind people to communicate with the ring's controller. And it uses a text-to-speech software to read books aloud for the user. So it converts ebooks to audiobooks, which the blind people can take advantage of this service. And it also has an algorithm that translates the characters into the feature text tactile dots, where fingerprints electrode interface will have 6 dots that pop out according to the character. Because in the previous presentation that we had, we talked about passive haptic learning, which we said that we can teach the blind people how to type Braille and read Braille. And we saw that we have 6 dots for each that can represent each character for the blind peoples. So as this ring scan the text and scan the PDF and try to recognize the characters, the letters of each word, it will send a signal that pop out the dots corresponding to that letter, which deaf blind people can take advantage of this service. And it's a really simple design. The device provides a simple interface for the user to use. It has one start and off button, the 2 buttons for backward and forward during reading one word at once. For example, the user can skip through some words or even some pages of the book, or go backward in words and pages easily. Basically, this is our prototype, which is not the final design, and we hope to finish the final design by end of this term. So here it's going to be like a ring like this that you wear it on the index finger, and it has the 6 dots as shown here. There's 6 dots, and which represents each letter of the word. And on top of this ring, here we have some machines that attach to this, like for example voice command that the user can comment to the ring that, for example, I want to read this book, the name of the book, and this device connected to the Wi-Fi to those online sources, and it can download that book into the memory of the device and try to, uh, based on the user's need, try to convert it into the signals of the voices that it can read it loud for blind people, or it can convert it to the signals that pop up the dots. And also, on top of the ring, we have the user can rotate it backward and forward in words and pages. And on the side of the ring, we have some buttons for exploring the books and some other usage. We might make some changes to this design, but this is just a prototype for now. So our design consists of internal memory for ebooks because all the ebooks should be downloaded and be stored in memory. And also it leverages translation of English letters to Braille letters and have an internal surface for Braille representation going backward and forward with navigation ring. It also consists of a quick rotation for going through pages and going through books with side buttons. It's really easy to use and very simple design. As a conclusion, Braille Reading Ring or BRR improves the accessibility of ebooks for the blind people. They can easily access every new or PDF or online books without being worried about converting into the Braille, paying lots of cost or anything. They can enjoy reading as much as they want with this fingering, and it addresses issue regarding the printed Braille books as we talked about it. This device is used for blind people that can read book during their daily commute, for deaf blind people that, yeah, for both of them actually, deaf and blind people that can easily read books during their daily commutes, and it doesn't interfere with the sense of hearing, and it's really easy to use. So basically these are the references that we came across for our presentation on the projects, and thank you so much for your attention.